afternoon. It's Wednesday, February 12th. I'm Sarah Taher for Skedline, and here's what's happening in local news. Yesterday, Canadian National Railway Company said it would be forced to shut down significant parts of its Canadian rail network unless blockades on its rail lines are removed. The blockades ensued from demonstrations by protesters who are opposed to the construction of the Coastal GasLink natural gas pipeline in British Columbia. It is now the fifth day anti-pipeline protesters near tracks here in Ontario have disrupted trains. Coastal GasLink said on Tuesday that the construction of the pipeline in northern British Columbia is expected to resume this week. Operator Via Rail said that since they started, the protests have disrupted 24,000 passengers and 157 trains, including the transportation of perishable food, propane, grain, feedstocks, and coal. Canadian Minister of Transport Marc Garneau told reporters yesterday, quote, "We hope this will get resolved because it has an important impact to the economy of the country." Action is being carried out here in Ontario as there is a blockade on the Via Rail from Toronto to Montreal. The Ontario Provincial Police said that one of its own has been arrested and charged with sexual assault in relation to a domestic incident. The force said in a news release yesterday that the OPP's Professional Standards Bureau began investigating a male officer in October of last year after receiving a complaint involving events while the officer was not on duty. The officer now faces 3 counts of sexual assault as well as 3 counts of overcome resistance by choking. The 30-year-old officer, who has been with the OPP's East Region Detachment for 4 years, has been suspended with pay. He has been released from custody and is expected to appear in Ontario Court of Justice at a later date. OPP says the identity of the officer will not be released to protect the identity of the victim. Longtime newspaper columnist and author Christy Blatchford, known as one of Canada's most prominent writers, has died after a short battle with lung cancer. She died this morning in a Toronto hospital where a circle of close friends and family kept a bedside vigil. She started at the Globe and Mail in the 70s as one of Canada's first female sports columnists. She went on to have an impactful career in journalism, where she also did work for the Toronto Star, Toronto Sun, and the National Post. Anne-Marie Owens, a former editor-in-chief at the Post, talked about Blatchford's impressive career. Quote, "She had the most consistent moral compass of anyone I've ever encountered. Look at her entire body of work and you'll see a through line that ran through everything she was committed to and that she cared deeply about." Many others are paying respects to Blatchford with kind messages on social media. It was said that even as she was in hospital with her health declining, she talked about her next assignment and stayed true to her competitive nature. The World Health Organization, also known as WHO, officially renamed the coronavirus as COVID-19 on Tuesday in Geneva, Switzerland. The name is taken from the words corona, virus, and disease, with 2019 representing the year that it emerged. The World Health Organization director said that they had to find a name that does not refer to a geographical location, an animal, an individual, or group of people and it is also pronounceable and related to the disease. The WHO chief called on the entire world to fight the new virus, noting that the coronavirus vaccine should be available in 18 months. Now going to Ria Paul for entertainment.
Thank you, Sarah. In China, a local singer Wang Kongqi holds concert on balcony to entertain his neighbors during the coronavirus lockdown. The professional musician from a city in Zhejiang province sang into a microphone with music playing from stereo equipment. The neighbors turned on their phone flashes and waved along Wang's music. However, the concert didn't last long as Zhejiang police called it off. It was so regarding concerns of virus spreading through spits from singing. Yesterday, Jesse Smollett was indicted on charges of staging a hate crime attack on himself. This came 11 months after similar charges were dropped. The indictment accuses the former Empire actor of making 4 separate false reports to Chicago police. The reports relate to his accusations of being the victim of a violent hate crime. The withdrawal of original charges led to an outcry of miscarriage of justice, hence the special prosecutor Webb decided to further prosecute the openly gay and black actor. The decision came after looking into how the local prosecutors handled the original case. Meanwhile, in New York, the Weinstein trial continues. Weinstein did not testify as the defense rests its case yesterday. The once powerful Hollywood producer has been charged for sexually assaulting 2 women, Minnie Haley and Jessica Mann. If convicted, he will face prison for life. Weinstein has pleaded not guilty. Nielsen's survey suggests that demand for streaming TV services remains strong. The US data and measurement firm says that consumers love streamed TV and film. They want content providers to keep it coming. The survey was conducted for the firm's latest total audience report. It found out that even as the number of streaming services rise, 93% of respondents would keep paying for the ones they have and subscribe for others. Speaking of film, South Korea's Oscar-winning movie Parasite is making history. It became the first foreign language movie to win Oscar for Best Picture on Sunday. Telling a suffocating story of class struggle in modern Seoul, the movie won in total 4 awards. It prompted South Korean social media to erupt in celebration, marking an important Oscar moment. However, Nielsen data reports that overall Oscar viewership dropped 20% from last year to an average audience of 23.6 million. Another on pop culture, John Legend's All of Me has been named Spotify's top love song. This name came from Spotify's most played songs on Valentine's Day playlist, hitting a stream of 1.1 billion. The singer's 2013 ballet from album Love in the Future was dedicated to his wife, Kwesi Teigen. A standard poodle has been crowned top dog in finale of Westminster Kennel Club show. The poodle named Zeba was best in show, taking home the grand prize in the most prestigious competition for purebred canines in the United States. Just shy of 4 years old, the graceful black female from Pennsylvania triumphed over crowd favorites the Daniel, the Golden Retriever, and Bono the Havanese. It was the fifth time that a standard poodle won in the show's 144-year history. And that's that for entertainment. Now back to you, Sarah.
Thanks, Ria. The New Hampshire primary for the 2020 presidential election began yesterday. Bernie Sanders, U.S. Senator from Vermont, is leading the Democratic field, but not by much. The remaining votes went to Pete Buttigieg, former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, and Amy Klobuchar, a U.S. Senator from Minnesota. Now I'll be talking to Skedline reporter Jacob White, who attended the U.S. primaries yesterday. I'm here with Jacob White, joining me from the airport in New Hampshire. How are you doing today, Jacob?
I'm good. How are you doing today, Sarah?
I'm doing well. Why don't you start by telling us about last night and the vibe of everything at the events?
Yeah, so the event that we went to was Pete Buttigieg's watch party. It was being held at a Nashua Community College in a gymnasium that's been used by a couple of other candidates before. It was really exciting, actually. Anytime there was a slight change in the results, everyone would just start cheering. They'd have their usual chants of boot edge edge. To make sure they pronounce the last name, and Mayor Pete or President Pete. So anytime there was a change like that, it was really exciting. Place was pretty full, I feel, and not exactly. They didn't end up winning the New Hampshire primary, obviously, but he did have a really good showing coming in second, and the delegate count he stays pretty close to Sanders as they move on to Nevada.
And I was going to say, it was close yesterday, but Bernie did pull ahead. How was that, experiencing that?
It was pretty good. I had Jack Anderson Paul went to the Bernie Sanders event. I could only see based off the tweets, but I was talking to Jack earlier, and he was saying that when it got pretty close, within 2 percentage points, the crowd at Bernie's event started to get quieter, and obviously, get really loud, especially when it got closer and closer, like I said already. But yeah, a lot of excitement, a lot of people coming out, people attended. They were very happy to doing, and I think they really push forward with some good momentum here.
Great, that leads me to my next question, which was, this is the first of over 50 primaries, and do you think this is a good indicator so far of how it's going to go?
Yeah, I think so. There's been a real decider. There's been a real top tier that's been set out here with Senator Amy Klobuchar, Senator Bernie Sanders, and Mayor Pete Buttigieg. A bit surprising that Elizabeth Warren didn't do as well as expected. She is a senator in Massachusetts. New Hampshire didn't do as well, and Joe Biden, he didn't even stay in the state. He went straight down to Carolina before any of the results were even announced, so it's not really a good showing for the either two of them. A couple candidates dropped out as well, with Andrew Yang and Michael Bennett. They both dropped out, so we're starting to narrow down a little bit. But there's also Michael Bloomberg waiting in the wings to step in as we get closer towards Super Tuesday in, I believe it's around 3 weeks. He'll start to come in. He's been doing massive ad campaigns in a couple of the states for Super Tuesday. So it'll be interesting to see if this top three with Klobuchar, Sanders, and Buttigieg holds.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Jacob. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime, Sarah.
Yesterday, the U.S. Justice Department abruptly moved to seek a shorter prison sentence for veteran Republican operative and longtime Trump advisor Roger Stone, with all 4 prosecutors quitting the case after the Department of Justice requested to change Stone's sentencing. Hours after U.S. President Donald Trump publicly complained that Stone was being treated unfairly, senior department officials overrode the sentencing recommendation of 7 to 9 years made on Monday by the federal prosecutors who secured Stone's November conviction. Stone was found guilty on 7 counts of lying to Congress, obstruction, and witness tampering. Yesterday, Sudan's government and rebel groups in Darfur agreed that all those wanted by the International Criminal Court should appear before a court of justice. The list includes ousted President Omar al-Bashir. Bashir, who has been jailed in Khartoum since he was toppled after mass protests last year, is wanted by the ICC for alleged war crimes, genocide, and crimes against humanity in Darfur. The government and rebel groups reached an agreement during a meeting in South Sudan's capital, Juba, that included the quote, appearance of those who face arrest warrants before the International Criminal Court, said Mohammed al-Hassan al-Taishi, a member of Sudan's Sovereign Council. Taishi also said that the 2 sides agreed to create a Darfur Special Court to investigate and hear cases, including those investigated by the ICC. Today, Pope Francis dismissed a proposal to allow same-sex married men to be ordained in remote areas, reaffirming the Roman Catholic Church's century-old commitment to celibacy among priests. The decision is one of the most significant of his papacy, and it appeared a victory for conservative senior clergy who had feared a slippery slope towards a married priesthood throughout the church if the recommendation was approved. It was put forward by Latin American bishops as a means of easing a shortage of priests in the Amazon region and passed by 128 votes to 41 at a contentious Vatican Assembly of Roman Catholic bishops. 3 months after that vote, Francis delivered his response, ignoring the proposal altogether. Humber College is kicking off the 93rd Black History Month with multiple campus events held by BASE, the Black Academic Success and Engagement Group. The events include things like movie nights and painting at both the North and Lakeshore campuses. Tonight, Humber is holding an open mic night at North Campus and a poetry slam here at the Lakeshore's G Building from 4 to 7 p.m. Now throwing it to Emma Moeck with the weather.
Thanks, Sarah. Well, as you can see, it is a beautiful sunny day today, but the high only goes up to a chilly +2 degrees, and it looks like it's only getting colder throughout the week. Even though winter seems like it might last for quite a bit longer, Humber students could not be more ready for the snow to melt and spring to come. Oh, are you looking forward to the winter going away? Are you ready for spring?
I'm so ready for it, yeah.
Too cold for you today?
Yeah, every day.
So, are you looking forward to the spring? Are you ready for the snow to go away?
Yeah, definitely. It's way too cold, and it's only gonna get colder.
Now, on to the 5-day forecast for this week. Well, this week we'll definitely be seeing some cooler temperatures after the mild weekend that we just enjoyed. Today will be mostly sunny with a few clouds, with the high reaching a chilly 2 degrees. The low tonight will be -2. Tomorrow, we can expect some more snow with a high of 1 and periods of flurries throughout the day. The low tomorrow will drop to a frigid -17 degrees, so if you're planning on going out at night, make sure to bring a warm coat and bundle up. If you were looking forward to more sunny weather, then you'll see a lot more of that on Friday, but with a high of only -8, it will definitely feel like the middle of winter. Friday night will be dropping to -11 degrees. We can expect a bit more snow this weekend, with some scattered flurries starting Saturday night. Saturday will be cloudy with a high of -2 and a low of -3. Sunday will see a bit more snow throughout the day with a high of 1 and a chance of flurries. Any snow should be clearing up by Sunday night with a chilly low of -6. Moving on to our national weather story. Schools in Nova Scotia have closed in advance of a winter storm system that is threatening Atlantic Canada. Environment Canada has issued special weather statements for Nova Scotia, warning of snowfall expected to hit on Thursday. Up to 20 centimeters of snow is expected, and the storm could also bring strong winds, rain, and ice pellets to the Maritimes. This is the second winter storm in the region this week, and it is expected to die down by the weekend. This was Emma Moeck with the weather. Now over to sports news with Christian Holmes.
Thanks, Emma. Here's what's making news in the sports world today. Starting with hoops, the Toronto Raptors are looking for their 16th straight victory when they travel to Brooklyn to take on the Nets. The Raptors are coming off a 137-26 win at home against the Minnesota Timberwolves. OG Anunoby had a career-high 25 points against the Timberwolves on Monday. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson had himself a game, scoring 21 points in 35 minutes. The Raptors will have to hope its role players have another good night against the Nets, since they will be without the services of Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka, and Norman Powell. Raptors head coach Nick Nurse told the media after Monday's game that he wants his team to take the ball into the paint and maintain the perimeter defense. Sportsnet's Michael Grange told Skedline the Raptors' historic winning streak is something to be remembered, but some of their wins have came against basement-dwelling teams. Grange said come playoff time, the Raptors will have to be, quote, all in if they want to win another championship. For more on the Raptors' historic 15-game winning streak and to hear the full interview with Michael Grange, keep posted to skedline.com for a Raptors-themed podcast hosted by myself and fellow Skedline reporter Nimrit Singh. Moving to the ice, the Toronto Maple Leafs won a nail-biter against the Arizona Coyotes last night. The Leafs won the game 3-2 in overtime thanks to a nifty goal by the speedy Kasperi Kapanen. Kapanen, positioned at center ice, knocked the puck out of midair and rushed past the Coyotes defenseman to snipe the puck by Arizona Coyotes goaltender Adin Hill. Toronto netminder Jack Campbell kept the Leafs in the game for most of the third period when the team's defensive coverages started to fall through the cracks, a problem that has troubled the Maple Leafs for most of the season. Leafs head coach Sheldon Keefe told the media after the game that he wants his team to play a full 60 minutes. The Maple Leafs' next game comes against the Dallas Stars tomorrow night. 3 other Canadian teams were also in action last night. The Connor McDavid-less Edmonton Oilers beat the Chicago Blackhawks 5-3 thanks to a full four-point performance from Leon Draisaitl. The Winnipeg Jets blew an engine, losing 4-1 to the New York Rangers, who were aided by a 2-goal performance from the ever-so-talented Chris Kreider. The Ottawa Senators were shut out by the Colorado Avalanche 3-0. Goaltender Philip Grubauer stopped 34 shots, and because of that, was named the first star of the game. In other NHL news, a scary scene unfolded at last night's game between the St. Louis Blues and Anaheim Ducks. Blues defenseman Jay Bouwmeester collapsed on the bench during the first period due to a cardiac episode. Bouwmeester was hospitalized and underwent tests early Wednesday morning. Both teams made the decision to postpone the game since the players were visibly shaken and distraught by the event. Blues general manager Doug Armstrong said Bouwmeester was awake, alert, and moving his arms and legs as he was transported from the arena to the hospital. Now for some local sports news. The Raptors are not the only hot team in Toronto right now. The number 1 ranked Humber Hawks men's volleyball team looks for its 16th straight win when they play the Redeemer Royals on Thursday. The women's volleyball team looks to get its 14th win of the season when they play the Redeemer Royals Thursday night. Humber Hawks women's basketball star Nia Campbell-Johnson is in the running for the 2nd annual Women's Basketball Player of the Year award. Be sure to vote for her on Twitter at CC_Canada. That is what's making news in the world of sports today. Now let's go to Sarah Taher for the news.
Thanks, Christian. We have breaking news that the 4 largest teachers' unions in the province will be going on strike on February 21st. This comes following months of one-day walkouts to protest changes made by the Ford government. The union says that they were close to a deal with the government when negotiations fell through at the last minute. That's all we have for today. I'm Sarah Taher for Skedline.